Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'll be playing Voidfall. In this solo scenario, I'm going to play Devil's Triangle using House Shiveus Origin A, Dreadnoughts. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I'm all set up to play a solo game of Voidfall, and I am playing as House Shiveus with the Origin A, so starting with Dreadnoughts, and I am playing the scenario Devil's Triangle. So a couple things before we get started. First, don't forget there's always chapter markers, so if you want to jump to a specific part, you can. Secondly, just a quick thank you to everybody who's really interested in these Voidfall videos. I know I haven't put one out for a little bit longer than I usually do. I've just had an influx of games coming in, but don't worry, I have not forgotten about Voidfall at all. There's still more Voidfall content to come. So thanks for being patient while I publish some other stuff too. And then thirdly, as usual on these Voidfall videos, you're going to see some game pieces that you probably don't have, and anything that you see that you don't have is from, well, either the Galactic box if you've got retail, or it's from the Etsy store I co-own with a couple of friends. So quick rundown, it's going to be all the tokens, so guilds, installations, glory tokens, bounty and reclaim tokens, which are blank on the back. I use a drawbag system with the original cardboard for those. All of the fleet tokens, and then of course the tech and agenda trays, and some other pieces that may or may not make it on screen. So if you're interested in any of that, there is a link in the description. You can go to the Etsy store. It's called Brain Bucket Games. So as for this setup, I picked this one because there was an interesting thread on Board Game Geek a few months ago at time of recording where somebody was playing this scenario with this setup. They were playing on hard mode. I'm playing on medium today, but they were just really struggling with it and looking for advice, and they eventually beat it and beat it pretty handily. So I just wanted to try it out. So a couple notes on the setup. When I was setting up the heroic focus cards, which I guess you can't see all those. This triangle shape really pushed the limits of what I could fit on screen. So the trade tokens I've moved over so they're on top of the rewards. That kind of ran out of space. But when I was putting out these heroic focus cards, I got innovation. And so when innovation comes out, you just put it on the top of the stack. So we're going to see the innovation heroic focus card at the beginning of cycle 2. And then for technologies, the houses I drew were Cortazar, so torpedoes and star bases, Dunlork, so orbital docks and energy cells, Nervo, so we've got robotics and arc ships, and Novaris, so combat replicators and cybernetics. The fallen house is Dunlork, and then the three houses without the +4 influence, or the three techs, are orbital docks, arc ships, and combat replicators. And the two level 0 crises that I drew on the military track, I need to get the improved version of my starting technology. And on the economic track, I need to have 20 or more total combined resources. I'm sorry, that's resource yield. My total production yield has to be 20 or more across all resources. So let's take my focus cards here. Innovation is out for cycle 1. And then I have Shiveus has a special politics card, and Crusade, which replaces Temptation. So I won't have Temptation available at all. So let's figure out what the heck I'm going to do. Oh, but I suppose before I do that, I need to reveal the Galactic Event. And also, I should probably tell you, the improved technologies for Cycle 2 that are available on the Galactic board are arc ships, star bases, cybernetics, and combat replicators. So let's take a look at this Galactic Event. We have Looming Destiny. So there's going to be 5 turns this cycle. And I need to put 1 reclaim token and 1 sector defense on an adjacent Voidborn sector. And so we've got some wormhole shenanigans going on. So this is an adjacent Voidborn sector. This is the Fallen House, so not there. I could go here or I could go here. And really all 3 of those sectors are identical. They've all got a corrupted population of 3 and a bounty token and 2 Voidborn fleet power and 2 glory. So I don't know, I guess I'll go here. Reclaim token, sector defense. And now I need to corrupt the dominance agenda. which is probably the one I'm the least concerned with because I don't have the Temptation focus card and I'll only be able to play Innovation twice at most. And now I can either activate or deploy a fleet power to my home sector. And I am absolutely going to deploy. That's awesome. I'm going to deploy another Dreadnought. And so, of course, I have 3 fleet tokens in my home sector now, and you're only supposed to have 2. But you check that. Where's the galactic board here? At the end of each focus, and so that's at the end of my first focus is when I'll have to bring that down to 2 if it's still looking like that. And of course, I can't have more than 1 on any of these dreadnoughts because they're the basic version, not the improved version. So the basic dreadnoughts can only hold 1 fleet power each. And then to deploy that dreadnought, I need to spend 1 material, or 1 credit, I suppose, but I'll spend a material. So I go from 2 down to 1. And starting out, I have 4 food, 2 energy. I had 2 materials, now it's down to 1. I have 3 credits and 2 science. And on my just my production level here all the way on the left, 0 for food, 2 for energy, 2 for material, 0 for credits, and 2 for science. So resources may be a bit tight. And then scoring criteria at the end of this 5-round cycle. If I have a pure non-starting agenda in play, I can build an installation. Or if I have 5 or more pure guilds, I can gain an agenda. And I think ideally I'd like to accomplish both and take the bottom one. I want the agenda in play anyway, but then gaining an agenda allows me to take more actions. So I think I would like to get a free agenda. So we'll put that here and we'll try and keep that in mind. And I'm on a little bit of a limited time frame recording today, so I'm going to maybe be a little bit suboptimal and try and play a little bit more quickly. I don't think it'll affect the video time at all because I'll edit out all the thinking, but I think I have to do less thinking today. So let's get started. And I'm going to start by playing Conquest. And I'm choosing that because I want to invade immediately using these dreadnoughts that I have here. And the other 2 ways that I have to invade with my cards are my Special Politics card and my Crusade card. But both of those, you have to invade a corrupted sector. And I want to invade this one, which is not corrupted, this comms relay. So I've got to use my standard Conquest. So I'll start with this first action here, and I'll pay 2 energy, so I'm down to 0 energy, and I can invade. And so this is a sector without fleet power. There's just these 2 sector defenses to get past. So I'm going to move both of these dreadnoughts in, and each dreadnought, when it's the invader, gets 1 approach absorption. So I block both of these sector defenses, and that's it. I've made it through, and I'm the only one with initiative now. So I've won the combat. So first I'll score glory. There's no glory token there, but I have 2 to begin with. So we go from 10 to 12. And, oh, shoot. I probably need a crisis too, right? Let's grab an alert card here. We have a 1. Let's grab a crisis. And it's a military crisis. After you spend a trade token, choose to also add a Voidborn fleet power to every open rift. Otherwise, you skirmish. So should have done that before I started, but okay. I think I'll be just fine taking the skirmish probably. Ooh, well, maybe not. Eek. All right. Well, with this crisis in mind, let me reconfigure that invasion I just did. Instead of invading with the 2 dreadnoughts, I'll invade with a dreadnought and a corvette, and then I only have 1 approach absorption, so I lose the corvette. That's an active fleet power now. This comes off the board. Oh, but then that doesn't really help me either. Okay, sorry. Let me stick with what I did originally. We'll do this, and yeah, I've got a plan. Okay, I'll be okay. So we did the invade. Now I'm going to take this second action, so I'm going to spend. It's an energy and a credit, and I don't have any more energy, so I'll spend 2 credits down to 1 credit, and I can gain an agenda and move a corruption. So let's start with the corruption. I'm going to move it off my player mat to this comms relay, because my current agenda scores for every 2 pure population, but this is a fixed population, so it'll never be more than 3, so I'd rather put it there than on this sector, which can possibly go up. And so now the question is, which agenda do I want? And I think I want a wealth agenda just for the action, but I don't want the one on top. So we'll take a look at the next 2. We've got Quantum Leap and Intellectual Supremacy. And I'll take Intellectual Supremacy. I think that one's got at least the best chance of scoring anything this cycle. So this is in my hand, I guess over here. And because I've got this comm sector and I've played Conquest, I can spend 1 energy to take the third action on the focus card. And so I have no energy, but I do have 1 credit. So I spend 1 credit, so down to 0 credits. I'm real tight on resources now, but that's a pretty good price to activate 2 fleet power. So there we go. So I've played Conquest. That's the end of that focus card. So now we're good on fleet tokens. I don't have to reduce any down, and we have to figure out what we're going to do with this crisis card. And so I will take the skirmish now. Oh shoot, no I won't, because I was thinking I'd skirmish I have 0 corruption on my house mat now, so it's just this +1 modifier. So I thought I would skirmish at 1, which would be here, and I would win. But because I'm Shiveus, I skirmish at +1, so I'd have to skirmish at 2, and that would be a tie, which would result in a loss for me. So that's rough. So yikes, I guess I got to make that ongoing. I'm not really willing to take a catastrophe token on the first turn on a level 1 crisis. So whoopsie, let's go to the next turn. We got to draw the alert card. And we have level 1 again, so let's grab a crisis card. And we have a general crisis. This one is reactive forces. After you deploy, choose to also add a sector defense on 1 adjacent voidborn sector. The immediate penalty you can take is to consume a basic tech. So we'll put that here. So for my second focus card, I'm going to play Progress, I think. But I'll go ahead and take the Heroic Progress, I guess, while I'm here. And I'll start with this first action, which is free. I'm going to add a Science Guild to this outpost sector here. So my science level goes up by 2. So I go from level 2 to level 4, and that takes my yield from 1 to 3. And then I produce science, so now I get 3 science. And then I'll take this second action here. I spend 1 food, so I go from 4 down to 3, and then deactivate 1 fleet power right here. Now I can gain a basic tech and remove a corruption. So let's start with the corruption. I've only got 1 of those, and that's on this comms sector, so that's gone. And for the tech, I'm going to take basic torpedoes. So I get +4 influence for that. 13, 14, 15, 16. And I gain 2 materials. Thank you very much. Up to 3 materials. And I can deploy a corvette to my home sector. So we'll do that as well. And since I've deployed, I can also now add a sector defense to an adjacent voidborn sector, and that'll clear the corruption. So adjacent to here through the wormhole is either this sector again, or this one here. I think this time I'll go up this way. So now I've taken care of that crisis. I can put it away. And now I will slot the tech. And that was 2 actions on this focus card, and I don't have a way to take the third. So I'll put the heroic card away. And now going into the third turn, I need to draw a new alert card. So that's a 1 again. And the crisis is a military crisis again. After you build a sector defense, choose to also spend an energy. You may not spend a credit. And the immediate penalty is you can add a voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector. I think I'll probably take the penalty on this. I don't plan on building the installation, and I really don't want another military crisis. So for my next focus card, I'm going to play Production, and I'll also pair it with this agenda card. And I'll start with the agenda action, so I can place a guild and then produce whatever that guild type is. So I'm going to place an Engineers Guild here. I could place it up there, but I don't really want the upkeep for it right now. And at the moment, this one has a higher population. So I raise my energy level by 3, so from 2 to 5. And my production yield goes from 1 to 3. And then I produce energy, so I get 3 energy. And now I will take this action here, supply. So I produce food, which is 0. I've got no food production, so I'm still at 3 food. 3 more energy. 1, 2, 3. So I'm at 6. And then 1 more material. So I go from 3 to 4. And I get 1 influence for each of those types of guilds that are pure. So 1, 2, 3 influence. So from 16 to 19. And I can take 1 more action. And I'd really just like to advance the society track for free and raise a pure population. But if I was going to do that, I would have done it before I produced. I really need to do this one, which is a little bit of a waste, but it's going to cost me 1 food and 1 energy. So I'm down to 2 food and 5 energy now. And it's kind of a waste because I can remove a corruption, but I don't have any corruption to remove. But then I can regroup, and I think that's going to be important. So I'm going to start by moving 1 Corvette across the wormhole. So that's 1. And then I'm going to move this Corvette into here. That's 2. And then I'll move a Dreadnought 3, 4. And I think that's probably good there. So now I can slot this agenda right here. And I'm going to resolve this by taking the penalty. I'll add a Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector. And so I'll do it here. I think that's the one I'm least likely to invade. So this is solved. And let's draw the next alert card. So we have a level 2 situation. And therefore, we get a level 2 crisis card. It's a general crisis. Remove a harbinger, otherwise consume a basic tech. So I think it's going to be a while before I do anything about that, but we'll make that decision when we get there. So next, I'm going to play my special politics card, and I believe this is card 4. Yes, okay. And because I have this sector here, I can take all 3 actions on this card. So I'm going to plan on doing that. And we'll start at the top. That looks green to me. Yeah, that's food. Okay. So I have to spend 2 food. So I go from 2 to 0. I'm out of food. That's a little troubling. But I can advance the politics track. And so now I gain or activate 2 fleet power. And I can replace this level or this number 2 glory token with a number 3. I've got a nice glory tray for that. 2, 3. Okay. A little more glory. And now I'll take the second action. I have to spend 2 energy, and I've got plenty of that, so I go from 5 down to 3. And now I can invade a corrupted sector. And so I'm going to invade that Genesis sector. And I'll split up this Corvette fleet. So I'll invade like that. So the Dreadnought absorbs the 1 approach damage from the sector defense. And then initiative, I have 1 + 1 for the Dreadnought, and then a third for the Corvette. So I have 3. The Voidborn have 2, and I've got torpedoes, so I fire twice. So that takes out both of the Voidborn fleet power, and we win the combat. Unfortunately, I destroyed my comm sector in the process. Okay, so I take the Voidborn fleet power out, as well as the sector defense, and there's a number 3 glory token there. So let's add it to my other glory token and gain 6 glory, so I go from 19 to 25. And what else? We've got a bounty token and a reclaim token. And before I resolve those, I will take the immediate effect from the Genesis sector. When you successfully invade, you can move the corruption that's there. So I will move it to the comms relay, just in case I happen to be able to get a reclaim token that lets me build a basic guild type there, so I can increase the population. I want to be able to take advantage of that. Let's grab these draw bags here. We'll get a bounty token first. All right, so that's going to get me 1 food and 1 energy. I'm not ready to take the influence yet, so I've got a total of 1 food and 4 energy now. And from the reclaim bag, come on, basic guild. A farmer's guild. Oh, excellent. That would have been what I would have grabbed if I could pick. So now my food level goes up from 0 to 4, so I've got a food production yield of 3 now. What is my total yield? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So halfway to this level 0 crisis down here. So we can put both of these over here. I don't know that I especially need them, but there they are. Oh, and because I placed a basic guild, let's not forget, population goes up to 5, so I actually get 1 more level there. Still 3 yield. And again, I will take this third action by spending an energy. So I go from 4 down to 3. And the cost is I need to take a corruption, which I don't love. The only place I'm willing to take that is in this outpost sector here. So that's corrupted now. And I can gain a trade token and produce 1 resource type. So let's grab a trade token. And now I can either, grab a bounty token or 1 science. I'll put my trade token right here. I think I will take the bounty token. Almost assured to get something better than one science, I think. All right, one of any resource. I guess that's fine. And I think I'll take the food because I've got upkeep coming up, so I'm up to 2 food now. So yeah, I guess that was better. But and what's the other part? Oh, I can produce 1 resource type. No, well, with that being said, maybe I won't take 1 food from that bounty token. I'll take 1 credit, and then I'll produce food. So I go from 1 to 4 because I have a yield of 3. Okay. And that was all 3 actions. So now I need to do something about this card here, and I'm going to make it ongoing because I'm sure to get rid of Harbinger at some point. So I'll put that on the econ track. Now I've got 1 turn left in this cycle. It's going to be a level 1 crisis. And so this one is an economic crisis. After you build a scientist guild, choose to also recall 1 fleet power from the same sector. Otherwise, you can place a Voidborn fleet power on every open rift. I will almost certainly take the penalty for this, because I'm not really planning on getting to that rift. I think I'm going to hunker down on the right side of this map and try and start pushing the econ and filling up these safe havens. And I'm hoping to just use the safe havens and heroic cards to remove the harbingers. And so for my last card of this cycle, I'm going to play development, but I'm grabbing heroic development. And I'm going to start with this bottom action, which lets me spend 1 science. So I go from 5 down to 4. To remove a corruption from a sector and then build an installation in that same sector. So that's going to be this sector here. Remove that, great. And then very happy to build a sector defense there. And then I'll take this action next. I'm going to spend 3 of any resource. So I'll spend, I don't know, 2 materials. I'm down to 2. And 1 material, 1 energy, and 1 science. And then that lets me build a guild, and we'll make it another farmer's guild, and we'll put it up here in that sector. Yep. So this goes from 5 to 6, and now I need to, for the first farmer's guild, add 1 level, and then for the second one, add another 6 levels. So that gets me up to level 12. So my production of food is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, I need 1 more production to complete this this crisis. And since I've got this comm sector and the development focus, I can pay 1 energy to take the 3rd action. So I'll do that. And it's kind of a bummer because it lets you place a guild and increase the pure population in that same sector. So I'd rather do that like here to get the pop because the Genesis sector is already at 6. But if I can put any guild there right now, then I'll start working on the safe haven. And I think that's probably important. You know what, actually, I kind of feel like I need to take the risk. I think I need the long-term benefits more than the immediate build on a safe haven. So I'm going to do opposite of what I just said. I'll put an energy production there and increase this population by 1 from 2 to 3. So now my energy yield goes up, or my level goes up 3. So from 5 to 8. And materials goes up 1, and science goes up 1. And so now my total yield is 12, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, which is enough to solve this crisis, the starting crisis, which is good. Oh, and I paid the energy for that action, but I don't think I paid that 2 materials, so from 3 down to 1. So that is all 3 of those actions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to be it for this cycle. So let me get rid of this heroic card. And as I said before, I'm going to take the immediate penalty on this crisis. So I will add a fleet power to the open rift, and that is gone. So now let's resolve the crisis board and hope that I did my math right. So I've got no corruption on my house mat, +2 here, and +1 for being Shiveus. So the Voidborn are going to skirmish at 3. So let's check all of my my possible sectors. If they come in here at 3, they're going to lose 2 on the way in, and then I'll have the initiative and take out the 3rd. If they go to the Genesis sector, they'll come in with 3. And my Dreadnought gives me an extra initiative, so we'll be tied in initiative. We'll fire at the same time. My Dreadnought will absorb their salvo damage, and I'll do 2 back with my Corvette. So then they'll be down to 1, and then I'll have the initiative, and I'll wipe them out. So I will win that one. And then we check this one here. If they come in with 3, the sector defense will take 1 out. There'll be 2 left. Our initiative will be tied. They'll fire once, and I'll lose Corvette, but at the same time, I will fire twice because of torpedoes and take out the remaining forces. So that's where they would do the most damage. So that is where they're going to skirmish. So I lose 1 fleet power that way, but I did successfully defend. So I gain 2 influence. So I'm up to 27. And now for the economic part, I need to spend 1 material and 1 energy. So I'm out of energy and out of materials. Okay. Now we go to upkeep. And so on my sectors, I've got 1 and 2, plus 3, 4 here. And food, I've got 4 food. So I did pay for it. I've got now 0 food, 0 energy, 0 materials, a credit, and 3 science. So it's economically pretty tight, but I am surviving. I do not have any safe havens to build right now. So we go to the Galactic Event. And I do have a pure non-starter agenda in play, and I also do have at least 5 pure guilds. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pure guilds. So I accomplished both of those objectives, and so I definitely am going to take an agenda, and it's either going to be support or might, and I think I'll go with support. That card looks pretty decent, and the effect is useful. So now I can move on to scoring my agendas. So this first one, my starting agenda, I get 1 influence for every 2 pure population I have. So my pure population is at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 5 pairs of pure population, 5 influence for that. So I'm up to 32. And 3 influence for every pure sector with at least 1 shipyard. And that's just going to be this sector here. So 3 influence. Maybe I should build some shipyards. And then for intellectual supremacy, if I have 4 pure sectors, I get 4 influence. And I did for a while, but I'm just down to 3 pure sectors right now, so I didn't score for that. And then every basic tech I have, and I've got 2 of them, gives me 2 influence. So 4 more influence. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets me up to 39. Not too bad. So now I'm going to do the preparation phase for Cycle 2. So I'm going to draw a new Cycle 2 event. I'm going to get rid of a trade token, refresh the heroic focus cards. I'll refresh my alert deck, take off the tech blocker, and get my own focus cards back in hand. I think that's it. So stand by for a second, and then we'll go into Cycle 2. All right, so I'm ready for Cycle 2, and the Galactic Event is Humanity Rising, so it'll be another 5 turns this cycle, and first I need to find each Voidborn sector with at least 4 population, so that's this one, and this one, and then add a Reclaim token, a Bounty token, and 2 Voidborn fleet power. And we only do that if we can accomplish everything that it's asking. Neither of these sectors can hold 2 more Voidborn fleet power, so it's just going to be this one. So here's the fleet power cubes, and then I need to add a bounty token and a reclaim token. So definitely interesting. And then I need to take a corruption to one of my civilization tracks, and that's going to be the economic track. And finally, I can either gain 3 science or advance a track. And I'm going to advance this politics track, I think. No, I'm going to advance the society track. Those are both going to happen at some point. I'll stick with my first, politics. So I can deploy 2 fleet power to anywhere, any of my sectors. So I'm going to deploy a Corvette fleet power to my outpost, and then a Dreadnought fleet power also to my outpost, and that's going to cost me a material. And I have 1 credit, so I'll spend the credit. Okay, and the Galactic Event goals for this cycle are either have 3 or more production yield from credits, which I don't think that's going to happen, or have 5 or more technologies. That's probably not going to happen either. I guess I'm probably more likely to get the credits. So I guess I'll aim for that. I would like to have the techs, but I don't know how I'm going to pull that off. Although there may be a way. There may. But the credits will be easier, so I'll start with that. So now let's draw the alert card. And we've got a level 2 alert. And that gives us a general crisis. After resolving an innovation focus, choose to also remove a scientist guild. That might be doable. but not immediately. I'm going to start with production because I am broke. And so I will take this top action first, I guess, which is free, and advance the society track. And so now I can pick a pure population and it can go up. So let's do this one. Go from 3 to 4. And that makes materials yield go up by 1, and science level goes up 1, and energy level goes up 1. Okay. And now I can take this action, which is also free, to produce 3 basic resource types. So I produce 12 food, so I go from 0 to 12. Probably should have gone the short way around the dial. I produce 6 energy, so 0 to 6. And I produce 3 materials, so I go from 0 to 3. So now I can afford to do things this cycle. And now we gain 1 influence for each of those sectors, or each of those guild types that's pure. So 1 influence, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from 39 to 44. And that is it. So I will take this, and I'm not gonna consume the leftmost advanced tech, even though I don't think I need it. I'm just gonna put this on the crisis board. So now we've got the next alert card, and it's a 3. Goof. And I've got a military one for the greater good. Invade a fallen house with 2 or more different fleet types. And the immediate penalty is remove or discard an agenda from your hand or from played. This one I could accomplish. I don't know that I really want to. Yeah, just from the board state now, I could take a Corvette and a Dreadnought from here, go through this wormhole, invade, and win that combat. I would just lose the Corvette, or I suppose the Dreadnought, but I don't really want to do that, I don't think. At least not at this moment. Sorry about that. So I'm going to play Reinforcement, actually. And I'm going to start with this top action. So the cost is I need to deactivate a fleet power, and then I can advance 1 track, 1 society or civilization track, and then also build a sector defense. And we'll start with the sector defense up in the Genesis sector. I think that's probably wise. And then I'm going to advance my politics track, and now I'm in tier 2. That was super important. And I gain a basic tech. And I'm going to take star bases. That one's pretty good looking right now. So first I gain 4 influence, so go from 44 to 48. And then I can build 1 star base. And this says you may have 1 star base per sector. When you deploy, each of your star bases counts as a shipyard. And when you place a pure star base, you may increase the population in that sector. So I'm going to place that star base right here in this pure sector and increase this population from 4 to 5, which will increase production on materials and science and energy. All good things. So I'm getting real close to having a second sector with 6 population and 3 guilds. And now I'll take this second action to spend 2 materials. So I'm down to 1 material. I can deploy fleet power to each shipyard. So I can either send one to the home sector or to this sector here. And I think I will go here with a Corvette. And because it's reinforcement and I have this comms relay sector, I can pay 1 energy to take the 3rd action. But before I do that, you know what? I'm going to spend a material. Instead of deploying a Corvette, I'm going to deploy a Dreadnought. And I can just do it in the home sector rather than doing it there. Okay, so now let's pay an energy, take the 3rd action. Right there. And the 3rd action is going to cost 1 energy. And now I can regroup and build a sector defense. So let's start with the sector defense. And we'll move up to that Genesis sector again, I think. Really want to defend both of those. It's going to be pretty important. And now I can regroup. But I don't think I really want to move anything. So that's it for reinforcement. So I'm not taking this penalty. I think I'm going to do this action. So this goes on the military track, which is getting pretty full. And let's draw the next alert. And it is a war card, and we're bound to see one of those sooner or later. Oh, goodness. And this one is at +1 Voidborn fleet power. So as it stands now, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a real problem. I'll probably lose a sector that way. I do not want to skirmish at 6. But let's do what I was going to do last time, play the innovation card. And this is, I think, the 3rd. Yes, the 3rd focus card out of 5 this cycle. And I will spend the trade token to go with it. which means, again, I can add this Voidborn fleet power to the open rift and call this solved. Now I'm down to 5 Voidborn fleet power for this skirmish. Oh, and I'm taking the heroic innovation. Don't forget that. Okay, let's take care of this now. Oh, idiot. I was supposed to play reinforcement with this, and I didn't. That was stupid of me. And now I've got hidden information, or revealed information. Well, you're just going to have to forgive me. I'm going to mulligan it. I would have liked to have taken this action before I mustered, but I'm not going to let myself do that. And then I'll just put this in the Genesis sector. That's where it's going to go. And the starbase has no effect because population's all the way up. Man, I really messed myself up by switching my focus out, and then I'm going to slot it. I could have had better benefits, but oh well, that's what it's going to be. Ah, darn. Okay, innovation. Let's do this. Let's start with this top one, spend 4 resources. We'll spend 4 food, so go from 12 down to 8. And I'm going to grab energy cells. I think I need to defend myself. So this gets me 4 influence from 48 to 52. And then I can spend 2 energy to activate 2 fleet power, or 5 energy to activate 3. I've got 4 energy. I'm going to spend 2 to activate 2 fleet power. And now this gets slotted. So I'm getting close to having 5 techs. I might actually accomplish that instead of getting a Banker's Guild down. We'll see. And now I can produce credits and science. I know I don't produce any credits, but I can get 4 science. So I go from 3 to 7. All right. So now I'll take this middle action and gain an improved tech. And I think I want to gain the improved Dreadnoughts tech. So my starting tech. So I get 6 influence for that. From 52, I go up to 58. And I can deploy a Dreadnought. I can activate and deploy a Dreadnought. And I'm no longer limited in fleet power. So these are all advanced Dreadnoughts. Now let's flip them over to their super cool side. And I don't have to deploy it to my home sector, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to deploy it here and slot this. And so now I have improved my starting agenda or technology. So that card goes away. So what's my skirmish at now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Still pretty high. Let's see what else I can do. So I can remove 1 Voidborn fleet power from an adjacent sector. And I've got a few options. I think if I was going to invade one sector, it'd probably be this one. Because if I take this over, this one's no longer a skirmish potential. And now the third action, I can spend 2 resources to gain an agenda and remove a crisis card. So let's spend 2 science. I seem to have a lot of that. So I go from 7 down to 5. And the agenda, I think, is going to be this might agenda. So that goes in my hand. Let's not forget about it. And the scoring criteria, if you've got 3 pure shipyards or star bases, you get 6 influence, so I can do that right away. But then for every pure sector you have with 3 or more fleet power, you get 7 influence, and I can probably make that multiplier get really high. So I would like that to get into play, and maybe that'll direct my strategy a little bit. So let's reveal the next. And now I can remove a crisis card. So I know this one's about to go away. After resolving an innovation focus, choose to also remove a scientist guild. And I'll just get rid of this one because it's not doing much for me, and it'll get rid of an upkeep. And this one, I think I'm going to accomplish it later, but it is adding 1 to the skirmish strength right now. So again, skirmish is at 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see what happens if we skirmish at 4 versus 3. So if they come in here with 4, they'll lose 2 on the way in. Oh, and then this will do another. They'll lose 3 on the way in. Good for you, energy cells. So they lose 3 on the way in. They've got 1 left. I've got the initiative. Here, 1, 2, 3. They lose 3 on the way in. And then again, I've got the initiative. And then the top one, they lose all 4 on the way in. So I'm going to win either way. So I could get rid of this, but I kind of plan on taking that action anyway. Yeah, maybe I'll play it safe and I'll just get rid of this anyway. Even though I plan on doing it, now I don't have to do it immediately. Because for all I know, there's going to be another war card, right? So let's just, I wonder if I take care of this first or second. I got to check that. Okay, yes, the rulebook says that you place your played focus card in the discard pile before the Void advances step. So we've completed Heroic Innovation. Let's put this trade token back. Take this back, and because this says after resolving innovation focus, which I've just done, I can now choose to remove this scientist guild, and that eliminates that crisis card. So my science production level goes down by 2. And now we handle the war card. This is the Void Advances step. So we're in cycle 2. Handle the military track first. So this is at 0. So we're going to skirmish at 1 for being Shiveus, 2 for this corruption, and 3 for this card. And in any of the available sectors, if the Voidborn come in with 3, they lose all of their fleet power on approach. So I successfully defended, so I gained 2 influence. So I go from 58 to 60 for being Shiveus. And then this card says I also improve 1 glory token. So this 3 will go to a 4. Okay. And now we resolve the economic track, which is why I checked the rules just to make sure I didn't give myself anything extra here. So I need to spend 1, that's going to be an issue, 1 energy and 1 material, and I don't have a material or a credit, so I'm going to lose 3 influence. That kind of stinks. So I go from 60 down to 57. You never want the dials to go that way, but we have resolved this war card now. Boy, what a cluster that was. So 1, 2, 3, just 3? I've got 2 more. Wow, okay. I got stuff to do. Let's grab the next alert card. It's a 2, and so it's an economic crisis, Stronghold of Humanity. Increase the pure population while already having a pure population of 5. I know I can accomplish this one. I just don't know if I'm going to do it right away. But all I have to do is improve a pure population. Otherwise, we can corrupt a pure sector, and I'm not doing that. All right, so I'm going to play Progress, and I will remember to pair it with this agenda. And this is not one of the ones that I can get extra actions on. I don't have a trade token, so I can only do 2 things. And so it's definitely going to be these 2. I don't want to advance my lowest track because that wouldn't get me anything. So I'm going to take the trade token as this bonus. And, I'm just going to take 2 basic resources as my reward. And I think I'll take 1 material, and I better take a food as well. So I've taken that action, and now I will spend 2 science to gain a tech. So go from 5 down to 3 science, and it's definitely going to be arc ships. So the immediate benefit is I can place a guild and raise a pure population. So let's raise this pure population from 5 to 6, and I already had a pure population above 5, so that takes care of the current crisis. And now I've got to increase those production levels by 1. That one, and that one, and that one. And I can place a guild. And I think it better be an engineer's guild. A miner's guild would be good, for sure. But I'm going to need to probably overproduce twice in 1 turn at some point here. And so food is going to be not too bad, but I need another thing I can do. And so if I increase this one, I don't know that would have done it. And now the effect of this is I can have 2 additional guilds on my home sector. I don't really have a need for that. I just really needed that immediate effect, and I needed it quick. And now I have 5 techs, so I at least accomplished something for the galactic cycle. So now I'll take this bottom action here, and that is recall 1 fleet power. It'll be this one, this Corvette, in order to remove a corruption from the same sector. So now I have 4 pure sectors. And that's important for scoring. And then I can also take a regroup action. And you know what? I'm going to move a Corvette from here, 1, 2, back to here. And I'll move this Dreadnought here, really just for some scoring purposes. And that was it for progress. So I'm going to slot this might agenda now. And how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't believe I still got another turn. Okay. Let's grab the last alert for the cycle. It's a 2. And so I've got a general crisis. Well, that's a bummer. Gain a basic tech while already having 1 improved tech. So I can't gain any more basic techs. I guess unless I invade the fallen house, then I could. Otherwise, the immediate penalty is to skirmish, and I think I'm okay on skirmishes now. And so you know what? I think I'm going to play prosperity here. And I don't think I get, nope, no bonus action there. I'm not going to spend the trade token. So I'm not going to take this top action because I don't want to advance this track with corruption on it. There's really no use. So I'm going to take these 2 actions, and I might as well take this one first because it's free. So first I can gain 2 resources of any type. So I'll take 2 credits, and then I can produce 1 resource, and I'll produce food. I have 9. I produce 12, so that's going to overproduce. So I've got 15 food. And then I gain 3 influence for the overproduction, so that gets my influence from 57 back up to 60. And now I'll take this action on the bottom, so I need to deactivate 1 fleet power and spend an energy and a material. So I'll just spend, I guess the energy and the material. So I'm at 0 of both of those. And now I gain an agenda and can build an installation. So I think I'm going to build a shipyard here, just for scoring purposes. And that just means which agenda might I want to replace. And I guess it's going to be a support agenda, but not the one there. Because I think the support agenda I have is the one that's scoring the lowest currently. So it's either going to be the Salvation Project or Optimized Power Supply. And I think I'll be better off with the Salvation Project, but I don't know that either of those are going to go score better than the one I've got. So that was 2 actions on prosperity. And I'll just take the immediate penalty here. I'll skirmish. So I'm skirmishing. There's nothing here. I've got 1, 2. Skirmish at 2. There's nowhere they're going to win at 2. So I win the skirmish. I get 2 influence for that. So I'm up to 62. And then this crisis is solved. And I think that was it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 focus cards for the cycle. So now we go into the evaluation phase for cycle 2, starting with the crisis board. So I am going to skirmish, and it's cycle 2, so there's an additional 1. 1 plus 1 for being Shiveus is 2, plus 1 there is 3. Again, anywhere they try and invade at 3, they're not going to make it past the approach step. So I win the skirmish. I get another 2 influence for that. I'm up to 64. Now I resolve the economic track. So I need to pay a material and an energy. They're both at 0, but I've got 2 credits. So I'll spend those. And now we go on to upkeep. So I've got 2, 4, 6 from agendas that don't have trade tokens. Let's see if I can, scoot that up just the slightest amount. Okay, so I've got 6 upkeep plus 7, 8 from that sector, 9, 10. Oh, and I didn't see this before. 11 here. That was an upkeep I didn't pay before. So I'm going to penalize myself 3 for it right now for not paying that earlier. I don't think I could at the time. I don't remember. So I'll just take the 3 influence hit. So where was I? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 15 food. So I'm going to have 4 food left over, and all my upkeep is paid for now. And now we check for pure sectors with 6 population and 3 guilds, and I've got 2 of those, so I can build 2 levels of safe haven. Might as well do this one and get the reward right now. And I thought for a second about taking the 2 deploy so I can get another fleet power up in that Genesis sector for scoring purposes this round. But that would get me 7 more influence, and I'd rather just get rid of Harbinger and get 10 influence that way. So let's get rid of this one, I guess. And since I got rid of a Harbinger, I've also solved that crisis now. So the crisis board is empty. So that's nice. Now we check the Galactic Event of the 2 goals available. I didn't have any credit production, but I do have 5 techs. So I gain 10 influence for that. So I go from 61 to 71. Not bad. And now I evaluate my pure agendas, which is all of them. So my starting agenda, for every 2 pure population, I get 1 influence. So my pure population's at 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's going to be 8 influence. I go from 71 to 79. And then I get 1 influence for every pure sector with at least, 3 influence for every pure sector with at least 1 shipyard. And I've got 2 pure sectors with shipyards, so that's 6 influence. So I go from 79 to 85. Now, if I have at least 4 pure sectors, I gain 4 influence, 85 to 89. And 2 influence for every basic tech, 2, 4, 6, 8. So 89 to 97. And then 3 influence for each improved tech, and I've got one of those. So that gets me to 100 even. Now, if I have 1 or fewer corruption, and I do, I just have the 1 corruption, I get 6 influence. Okay. And then for every pure pair of farmers guilds, I get 5 influence. And I've got 2 farmers guilds, so I go from 106 to 111. I've got 2, pure ones, of course, 111. And now if I have at least 3 pure shipyards and star bases combined, and I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 actually, so 6 influence for that. So I go from 111 to 117. And for each pure sector I have with 3 or more fleet power cubes, I gain 7 influence. So I've got 1, 2, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3 there. Only 2 up there. So 2 sectors, 7 influence each. That's 14. So I go from 117 to 18, 19, 20, 21, 31. So I'm at 131. I think I'm maybe doing okay. I don't know. Hard to say for certain. But now I'm going to do the preparation phase for cycle 3. So again, I'll remove a trade token. I'll refresh the improved tech offer, grab a new Galactic Event, refresh the heroic focus cards, grab my focus cards back, and then refresh the crisis deck. So give me just a minute and we'll be in cycle 3. Okay, and I think I'm set up for cycle 3 now. So the improved techs on offer are robotics, torpedoes, orbital docks, and energy cells. I'm not going to be able to get robotics or orbital docks because I don't have the basic techs unless I invade the Fallen House and get the orbital docks that way. And the heroic focus cards are leadership, prosperity, and production. And each of those has a way to remove a harbinger. And there's 3 harbingers left on the map. So I might have to play all 3 of those. And then I had to add a harbinger to the crisis board going into cycle 3. So I put it on the military track, which is maybe a little bit aggressive, but I feel like I've been handling the skirmishes okay, and I've lost some influence on the economic track. So that's not what I usually do, and especially with Shiveus, but here we are. So the cycle 3 Galactic Event is Wind of Annihilation, so 5 turns in this cycle as well, so we didn't get any of those 6s. So first we need to take a corruption to an agenda slot if able. Otherwise, take one anywhere. So I will. I'll put it right there for the moment. And then at the end of the first turn, we have to resolve a skirmish with +1 Voidborn fleet power, which was not what I wanted to see after adding a Harbinger to the military track of the crisis board, but it's what it is. And then I can choose to either advance a track and increase a pure population, or deploy 3 fleet power. And I'm going to take the first. I'm going to advance a track, and so I'll advance the politics track, which now lets me remove a corruption, so I'll take it off the agenda, and I can increase a pure population. So let's go ahead and do that in the only sector we can, home sector. So I go from 2 to 3. And the goals for this galactic cycle are either every pure sector you have after the first 4 is worth 5 influence, or each sector you have with pure population 4 is worth an influence, pure population 5 is worth 3, and pure population 6 is worth 6 influence. So I'm already looking at 12 influence if I can keep my 2 sectors in the top right corner there, which I definitely intend to do. And maybe I can move this one up, my home sector now, to a higher population and get some more points off of it that way. So I think that's what I'm going to try and do. So now let's draw the alert card. And of course, it's war. And so we're going to skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power when we resolve this board. So we're going to skirmish twice at the end of this first turn, basically. Okay, well, I think we can handle it. All right, so I've decided what I'm doing. I'm playing Prosperity. I kind of went back and forth on whether I wanted to advance down this way and really spread out and invade a bunch of times, or if I just wanted to stay in the back and build everything up. And I've decided I'm going to stay in the back. So I'm going to take this free action on Prosperity. I'll start by gaining 2 resources. So I'll gain 1 energy and 1 material, and then I can produce 1 resource. I'll produce energy, which produces 15. So I've overproduced, and that gets me 3 influence, so 131 goes up to 134. And now I'll take this bottom action, so I'm going to deactivate a fleet power, spend 1 energy and 1 material, and I can gain an agenda and build an installation. I don't have a spot for an installation, but I'll still gain an agenda. And I think I'll get a might agenda, even though I don't intend to replace the one I have. All right, and industrial nourishments might be useful, so hold on to that. Let's put this one at the bottom. And I'm done taking action, so let's resolve this war card. So first we need to skirmish at +1 fleet power. So we've got 1, 2, 3, +1 is 4. And so if they invade the Genesis sector with 4, they'll be eliminated on approach. Either the other sectors, they'll only have 1 left, and then they will not have the initiative and they'll be eliminated. So I win that skirmish, which gets me 2 influence for being Shiveus. And now I need to resolve the economic track, which is empty. Oh, thank goodness for that. So this is resolved. And now because it's the end of my first turn, I need to skirmish with +1 Voidborn fleet power again. So we just went through that exercise, so we already know the outcome. So I win. I gain 2 more influence, again, for my house ability. And now we go to the second focus. So let's grab a alert card. And we've got a level 2 alert. And it's an economic alert, and I need to advance a civilization track while that track is already corrupted, otherwise spend 4 resources. I could see going either way on this one. And so I'm going to play production focus, and I'll take the heroic production. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and I can't do it all, so let's do this before I change my mind, because I think this is going to be the greatest point swing. So I'm going to spend this trade token as the cost for this top action. And I get to remove a Harbinger, so let's remove this one. And I gain 3 influence for every pure guild I have. So I've got how many pure guilds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be 24 influence. I'm at 138, 39, 40, 41, 42, 52, 62. Okay, that was a big move. And then I'll take this middle action, and as much as I would like to increase pure population twice, I'm just going to produce the 3 basic resources. So materials goes from 0 to 4. Energy goes from 14 to 15 and overproduces. And food goes from 4 to 15 and overproduces as well. So I've overproduced twice, so I go from 162 to 168. And 2 overproductions means I can build a level of safe haven. There we go. And that was both of my actions. So I'm going to take this. You know what? I've got plenty of resources now. So let's spend 4 energy and just get rid of it. And then I'll put this heroic card away, and we'll draw the next alert. And it is a 3. Okay, watch out. And we have Hidden Novarcon Riches. Before you produce credits, choose to also remove a Banker's Guild from a non-home sector. That one's going to be tough. It's an economic crisis. The immediate penalty is I can skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power, and if I successfully defend, add a sector defense to an adjacent Voidborn sector. So luckily I can skirmish for this one. No need to take a catastrophe. So for this turn, I'm going to play Reinforcement, and it's mostly going to be wasted, but I'm playing it pretty tight with the fleet power. So I'm going to pair it with this agenda card. And that agenda action lets me activate a fleet power and build an installation. I don't have anywhere to build an installation, so that part's wasted. And then I'm going to take this first action to deactivate a fleet power as the cost to advance a track, and I'll advance the politics track. And that lets me gain a tech, and I'm in tier 2, so I can gain another improved tech, and it's going to be torpedoes. So that's going to get me 6 influence by itself. So I go from 168 to 174. And now I gain a number 3 glory token. And I can deploy a corvette to any sector with a shipyard. So let's put it here. There we go. And we'll tuck this in right there. And now, as long as I have a Corvette in combat, I deal 1 extra damage in each salvo step. And so then I can also build a sector defense, but I have nowhere to do that, so another wasted action. And then I'm not even going to bother with muster because I've got no fleet power left, and I need these 2 for the safe haven. So I'm going to take this action here for 1 energy, so I'm down to 10 energy. And I can, again, build a sector defense, and I have nowhere to do that. And I can regroup. And so I'm going to take this fleet power I just added and move it up there for scoring purposes. So that was all my actions. And the question is, do I want to keep this agenda or this one? So this one, as it stands, would score me 6 plus 5 plus 5 is 16. This one would be 7 plus 4 plus 4. That's 15. It'd be 1 less. But if I'm able to get another guild in either of these sectors, it would be 3 more. So let's do that. I think I can get a guild down and score more. And if I get 2 guilds down, it'll score even 4 more than that. All right, so I'm done with my reinforcement actions. I could spend an energy to take muster, but there's no purpose. So the immediate penalty here, we're going to skirmish at +1. So we're at 1, 2, 3, +1 is 4. And there's nowhere where that's going to have any effect. Don't forget I've got these energy cells that give me an additional approach damage. So I got to put this on adjacent Voidborn sector, and let's go with, I can go here or here. I guess this one. I don't know that it really matters, but now this crisis has been solved. And that was, I think, 3. That was 3 rounds. I've got 2 left. Let's draw the next alert card. Wow, level 1 alert. Didn't think there was any of those left. And before I forget, did I take my 2 influence for defending? I did not, for defending that skirmish. So 174 goes to 176. That's important. And the level 1 alert is all that glitters. So build a bankers guild while already having 1 or more bankers guilds. That's not going to happen. But then the immediate penalty is I could skirmish and gain 2 influence for it. So I think I want to do that. So let's play my next focus card. It's going to be progress, and I'm going to take the top 2 actions. So the first action, I'm just going to build a scientist guild. And so that's great. That's going to score me some points. That's kind of what I needed. So this goes up by 3. And then I will spend 2 science to gain another tech, I guess. Oh, and don't forget to pair this agenda, dum-dum. So let's spend my 2 science first and gain another tech. Oh, but that's going to be tough because I don't have room for any more techs and can't have any more improved techs. So we'll just take those 2 science back. So this was not a super effective card to play, I guess. But oh well, I'll take the trade token here. That's still a good thing to have. And as a bonus, I'll just grab a bounty token because I don't really need the other stuff. So I can gain 2 energy or 1 influence. And I'm at a point now where I'll take the influence. So I'm at 177. Okay. And do I want to slot this? So my current might agenda would score me 27. This one's going to score me 7 plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Not enough. So this is just going to the bottom of the stack. I'm discarding it. And now we will take this immediate penalty and skirmish. So we're skirmishing at 1, 2, 3. So they're not making it past the approach step. So I successfully defend. I get +2 and +2. So 177, 78, 79, 80, 81. Great. Crisis solved. And going into the last focus, of course, it's a war card. And lucky me, if I successfully defend, I gain a corruption. That just stinks. Okay. Well, it's not going to change what I'm doing. So I'm going to put my politics card down here to gain heroic leadership and play that. And I think I'll spend the trade token and take all 3 actions. So I'll start at the top. I need to spend 4 resources. I've got 3 science, so I'll just spend all the science and 1 energy. So I'm down to 9 energy. Now I can either build a level of a safe haven, which I don't need to do, or score my glory. And I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I haven't been able to make any use of that because I'm not invading. So I'll go from 181 to 191. Makes me feel a little better about it. The second action, I now spend a glory token, so let's get rid of a 3. And I can remove a corruption, so let's get rid of this one. And take one action from a preferred focus. And as Shiveus, my only preferred focus is politics, which is right here. And I think I'm going to... Oh, in my head, this was going to be better. I'm not going to advance that politics track because I'll have to recall fleet power. It's going to cost me a lot of points. Yeah, I guess I actually don't want to do any of those things, so I'm not going to. Okay, and then my third action, I spend one of any resource to remove a Harbinger or a Crisis card. So I've got 9 energy. Let's spend one more of those to remove a Harbinger. So one more of those gone. And that is all 3 actions. Let's put the trade token back. And I can put this card away. And now we need to resolve the war card, which means the crisis board. So I need to skirmish at 1, 2. That's the lowest skirmish yet. Skirmish at 2. Okay. Well, they're not getting past the approach step in any of my sectors. So that's a successful defense. I gain 2 influence up to 193, but I also must gain a corruption. So we're going to put it right back where it came from, right there. And now the economic row is empty, so I don't have to pay anything. So this is resolved. And I believe that was all 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So now I need to go to the evaluation phase. So we're going to start by resolving the crisis board again. So we're skirmishing now at 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is the evaluation phase. We get an extra one. So they would get past the approach step in this sector and this sector, but they would not have the initiative and they would be eliminated. So I defend the skirmish, 2 more influence, 195. Economic track is empty again. So now we pay upkeep, and I've got no trade tokens. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. Plus 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 upkeep. That's a lot. Good thing I've got 15 food. So I'm down to 1 food. And now we check for pure sectors with 6 population and 3 guilds. I've got 2 of those, so I'll build 2 levels of safe haven right here. And as the immediate benefit, I will get rid of this Harbinger. So that's pretty nice. Now, if we look at the Galactic Event, we're going to resolve that top goal. I've got 2 pure sectors with population 6, and then that's all I qualify for. So that's going to be another 12 influence for me. So 195, 96, 97 goes up to 207. And now I get to resolve all of my agendas because they're all pure. So we'll start with the starting agenda. Pure population for every pair. I get 1 influence. So I'm at 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's 9 influence for me. So go from 207 to 216. And then for each pure sector with a shipyard, I get 3. So it's going to be 6 total. So from 216, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. The star base does not count for this one. And if I have 4 pure sectors, and I do, I get 4 influence. So 226. Each basic tech, and I've got 3 of those, is 2. So another 6. That gets me up to 32. And then 2 improved techs is another 6. 38. And then if I have 0 corruption on my sectors, I get 7. So this one stopped me from advancing a little bit. But I go from 238 to 245. And for each pure sector I have with no empty guild slots, so I've got 3 of those, I get 4 influence. That's another 12. So from 45 to 57. And on this one, if I have at least 3 shipyards or star bases, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're pure, I do, I get 6 influence. So from 57 to 63. And finally, for each pure sector I have with 3 or more fleet power, I get 7 influence. And I have 3 of those sectors, so that's 21 influence. So from 63, 64, 74, 84, I have a final score of 284. I think that's going to do it. But let's score up the Voidborn and see how I did. So they start at 100, and there's an open rift, so that's going to get them up to 130. Safe havens are complete. There are no catastrophe tokens, no Harbingers on the map, so that's pretty good. I didn't consume any techs. There's no crisis cards remaining. There is a Fallen House left, so that gets them up to 133. 2 for each corruption. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 corruption. That's going to be 18. So we go from 33, 43, 51. Okay, and then 1 point for each population in a Voidborn sector. So we've got 4 and 4 is 8, plus 5 is 13, plus another 3 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This sector is not a Voidborn sector. 22, 51, 53, 63, 73. So I think that was a pretty handy victory, 284 to 173. So I feel pretty good about that one. I thought it was interesting. I never played Crusade, the card that replaces Temptation for House Shiveus. It was not for the strategy that I was pursuing, but it was really helpful to grab this early on to get a bunch of extra actions, and then to get the Genesis sector as well and build up the outpost in the Genesis sector that took care of these safe havens. So between those two things, I was able to just sort of sit and not let the Voidborn come in. There was a lot of extra skirmishes, which got me influence as well. That was helpful. So there you go. That was Devil's Triangle with House Shiveus, starting with Origin A, the Dreadnoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments, please. What would you have done strategically? I'm sure I made some mistakes, tactical and otherwise. So let me know where you would have done something different. And then if you enjoyed this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and sharing it with somebody else who might like it. And if you are subscribed, maybe consider leaving a like. And again, a comment would be great. All that stuff is really appreciated. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there will be more Voidfall content. I promise. I've got a lot of games that I'm playing right now, but Voidfall is going to be in the rotation for a long, long time. So this is Table for One. Thank you so much for watching. I had an awesome time. I hope you did as well, and I'll see you in the next video.